Okay, it says we are live now. So we're ready whenever you are, Gail.
All right, I'll get started. And if one of you could just keep your picture up, only because it makes it easier for me. It's weird to be able to teach a lesson to nobody, especially after 20 years of teaching them in front of a group. My name is Gail, and I work for the city of Bangor, the Bangor Health Department at 103 Texas Avenue. And I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm working for Bangor, but before I worked for the university doing the same thing. UNE is the ones who have the grant. It's called the SNAP Ed grant, and it's just a nutrition education grant. I do want to preface it to let you know that I am not allowed to answer medical questions, so if you have diabetes and you ask me questions about your diet, I can't answer those questions. I also need to refer you to the myplate.gov if you have any questions regarding portion sizes, because everybody's different. So a 20-year-old would eat differently than myself as a 60-year-old. And so I can't really answer questions to the degree of, oh, you should drink 3 cups of milk every day. I can't give you that information. I just give you basic nutrition information. If you do have any questions, go ahead and either ask them right out. That doesn't bother me. At the end of a couple slides, I'll open it up and say, has anybody got any questions? And then if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can type the question in the chat box. And somebody will be watching that and stop and let me know if there's any question. So I'm just going to go ahead and get on with my lesson here. This is 10 tips, main SNAP Ed, Series B, Eating Better on a Budget, Class 1. The first one's going to be making healthy food choices on a budget. Well, I'm not going, my slide's not advancing. Oh, there we go. So I do want to talk a little bit about my plate. And we'll be talking a little bit more about each area. But the main thing about my plate is it's 5 different areas. The first one we're going to focus on is fruits. And the recommendation is that you eat whole fruits as much as possible. And a whole fruit would be like a whole apple versus applesauce. Now, it's okay to eat applesauce and it counts as a fruit. But the whole fruit is going to give you more fiber. It's going to fill you up better. And that's why they say to focus on whole fruits. Now, it doesn't matter how you get it, canned, fresh, frozen, as long as you're eating it, it's perfectly fine. But you do want to watch out for the sugar in your canned fruits. Make sure they're packed in juice or water. The next section we're going to talk about is the green vegetables section. Veggies, you want to get as many different colors as you can. Each different color is going to provide you with a different vitamin or mineral. Orange vegetables are going to provide you with vitamin A. Green vegetables are going to provide you with vitamin K. So you're not going to get all the vitamins and minerals that you need if every day you eat a banana and an apple. So that's why they say to vary the different colors that you eat. And eat by season, because they taste better and they're usually more inexpensive. The next plate, I want to point out that half of this plate is fruits and vegetables. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. And going to the other side, let's talk about grains. Grains, you should make half your plate whole grains every day. You should have about, and I'm just throwing out a recommendation, 6 to 8 servings of grain every day. A serving is about a slice of bread or a half a cup of rice or pasta. And half of those, just 3 to 4 of those, should be whole grains every day. So if you don't happen to like whole grain bread, then you can have whole grain rice or however you want to mix that up. The next part is going to be protein. You should vary your protein routine. That's a tongue twister. And as for protein, people make protein the star of the plate, the meat. They make it the star of the plate. You only need about 6 ounces of protein every day. And that's a 3-ounce serving is about the size of the palm of your hand. And so you shouldn't be focusing, making this meat the star of the meal. Also, there's alternative to meat. You can have peanut butter, I'm drawing a blank here, eggs, and there are many different ways to get your protein into your diet. And then the other part is the little blue section up there, and that is the dairy. You should move to low fat or fat-free milk or yogurt and cheese. However you decide to get your dairy is perfectly fine. And now we're going to go on. You want to limit extras like sugars and sweets and stuff like that. So, eating better on a budget. Get the most out of your budget. There are many ways to save money on foods that you eat. The 3 main steps are planning before you shop, purchasing items at the best price, and preparing meals that stretch your food dollars. Now, the first and the biggest plan I can tell you to save money is to plan. Before you head to the grocery store, plan your meals for the week. Include meals like stews, casseroles, or soups, which stretch expensive items into more portion. Check to see what food you already have, and then make a list for what you need to buy. So now it's just me at my house, and I had 4 big growing boys. And after they left, I thought, well, you know what? I can do this. I've done this for years. I don't need to make a grocery list. I don't need to make a plan, a menu plan. And I just started shopping, and I was spending way more money than I needed to at the grocery store. So I can tell you that this works. Making a weekly menu and a shopping list and checking what you already have in the house is definitely going to save you money. Do we have any questions so far? No questions? Okay, I'll go to the next slide. So get the best price. Check the local newspaper and online to see what's on sale and at the store, and check for coupons. Ask about loyalty cards for extra savings at stores where you shop. Look for specials or sales on meat and seafood, because meat and seafood is usually the most expensive items on your list. I don't use a lot of coupons because mostly coupons are for things that aren't as healthy, and I'm not, you know, proposing that, but it's usually for something I don't normally buy. And if I'm buying something that I'm not going to use, I'm not going to be saving money. Now, saying that, I don't know if anybody has the Hannaford app on their phone or online. They give some really good coupons at the Hannaford. I'm not sure what it's called, Hannaford.com. You can get the app for your phone. You can even log on to the computer and go ahead and sign up there. And then all you do when you get to the store is put your phone number into the keypad where you put in your credit card. Quite often they give me coupons for free stuff. It looks to me like they see what they look and see what you purchase frequently, and then they give you coupons on those particular items. Sometimes they do give me coupons for things that, so say I only buy ground turkey, Shady Brook ground turkey. They might give me a coupon for another ground turkey to try and maybe their competitors have asked them to do that. But most generally, they have some pretty good coupons, and they give you money off. Say if you spend $40, they'll give you $5 off and stuff like that. So I found that to be a really good program. Now, coupons, if it's an item that you normally buy, say you only buy Tide laundry detergent, laundry detergent. If that coupon is giving you $2 off that's a win situation. It's going to save you money. So by all means, use the coupons for the things that you normally would buy. Some people, there's certain brands that they'll only buy Hood ice cream, will say. If you get a coupon for Hood ice cream, that's going to save you money in the long run. Now, do we have any questions now? This is going to be a very quick slide. Any questions in the chat box?
I don't see anything in the chat box, and I was just looking on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook Live and you have any questions, feel free to just put them in the comments of the video, and I can ask them to Gail for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So step number 3, compare and contrast. Locate the unit price on the shelf directly below the product. Use it to compare different brands and different sizes of the same brand to determine which is the best buy. I don't know if any of you use the unit price. Unit pricing is the best way to save money. So at the bottom, this unit price tag happens to be yogurt. One is a 6-ounce low-fat yogurt, and the other is a 32-ounce low-fat yogurt. So if you're looking at this tag, on the right-hand side, you would pay 72 cents for one 6-ounce yogurt and $1.62 for the 32-ounce yogurt. So it's going to look like that you're paying more, which you are, obviously, for the container. But if you look at the unit price, you've already saved over 50% because you're paying 12 cents per ounce on the smaller one, but you're only paying 5 cents per ounce on the bigger one. Now, I always tell everybody, you know, a 5-pound bag of carrots is going to save you money. But if you throw 3/4 of those carrots away, that didn't save you any money. So myself, I wouldn't buy a big bag of apples because I wouldn't be able to eat them before they were gone. So I'm more apt to buy 2 apples and eat them, or 2 oranges and eat them. That saves me money. Whereas it might be cheaper to buy a huge bag of oranges or a huge bag of apples. It's not going to save me money if I throw them away. Now, I don't throw anything away. I might give them to my children or my grandchildren. But that's just an example for you. Does everybody understand the unit price? Let's go on to the next page. Now, buy in bulk. It's almost always cheaper to buy foods in bulk. Smart choices are large containers of low-fat yogurt, a large bag of frozen vegetables. Before you shop, remember to check if you have enough room, enough freezer space or room to store whatever you get. Buying in bulk is really good if you, especially if you have a big family. For myself, sometimes if I buy in bulk, there's just no way I can eat it all. Although frozen vegetables, to me, frozen vegetables are pretty inexpensive, and they are picked at peak and frozen. They're flash frozen. So they maintain a lot of their vitamins and minerals. But when you buy in bulk, the unit price is going to reflect that. Like again, a 5-pound bag of carrots is going to be a lot cheaper than a 1-pound package of carrots. And now the other thing is to buy in season. Buying fruits and vegetables in season can lower the cost and add to the freshness. If you're not going to use them all right away, you can buy some and that are still have time to ripen. And so Maine has a very small growing season, as we know. I do like that Hannaford, especially, I don't know if other stores do it. Hannaford, they get produce from local farmers and they put it in their store, and it's usually the exact same prices of the other items that are shipped into the store. And I usually try to always buy local. And there are some fruits and vegetables that are all year round: onions, carrots, potatoes. Those are pretty inexpensive things. But I do try to frequent farmers markets and get things like that. I know that because they do taste better there. And I do buy most of my meat. I don't eat a lot of meat, but I will buy it at a farmer's market. And it's comparable price-wise, meat anyway, to what I pay in the store. Convenience costs, so go back to the basics. Convenience foods like frozen dinners, pre-cut fruits and vegetables, and takeout meals can often cost more than if you were to make them at home. Take the time to prepare your own and save. So the more work the store does for you, the more you're going to end up paying in the end. And so although they don't have salad bars open at this time right now, there were times when if I was headed home from work and I needed just maybe I don't want to say onion because onions are really something, I might get it at the salad bar and get 3 or 4, but you're paying like $5 or $6 a pound at that salad bar. So it is better to buy whatever it is and chop it up yourself. One of the things lots of times that I would buy on the salad bar would be kale, because let's face it, those bags of kale, they come in humongous bags, and nobody, even somebody who has a huge family, could eat all that kale. And I was always and forever throwing kale away. I can only make so many kale chips. So I would sometimes stop and buy that if they had it on the salad bar, if I knew I only needed a cup of kale. Even though it was a little more expensive, it was saving me money in the long run, and I wouldn't be throwing stuff away. So we've gone a little over halfway through the slides. Are there any questions or concerns or anything anybody would like to ask? You can put them in the chat box, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the questions. All right, I'm going to go ahead with the next one. So easy on your wallet. Certain foods are typically low cost options all year round. Try beans for a less expensive protein food. For vegetables, buy cabbage, sweet potatoes, or low sodium canned tomatoes. As for fruit, apples and bananas are always a good choice. Beans are typically something that I use a lot of to stretch a meal. If I'm making a chili and I put ground turkey in there, I will also put a can of black beans in there to stretch it a little longer and get some extra protein in there. And so certain foods that are inexpensive, you can make your own beans from a bag of beans, and that's a lot more inexpensive, but canned beans are really economical, and they do go a long way. This is what I really like to do. Cook once and eat all week. Prepare a large batch of favorite recipes on your day off, or double or triple the recipe. Freeze in individual containers and use them throughout the week, and you won't have to spend money on takeout. So lots of times I will make a big pan of soup on Sunday, and then I will put it in smaller containers and freeze it to take to work with me. So I have something for my lunch, and I'm not stopping at a fast food restaurant or eating more unhealthy things. Another thing that I will often do is I will make a big pan of soup and split it with my sister, and she'll make something, I'll make something. Then I have two different options to be able to. If you live in an apartment building and you're friendly with your neighbors, you could often do that. My sister lives in a housing place, and so lots of times what they'll do is they'll take turns cooking a meal, and they'll share it with their neighbors. And so one day my sister will cook, the next day somebody else will. So they get other options, and it spreads out the cost a little more. And then you're not getting tired of eating the same thing every day. Get creative with leftovers. Spice up your leftovers. Use them in new ways. For example, try leftover chicken in a stir fry over a garden salad or in chili. Remember, throwing away food is throwing away money. I love to pick up a rotisserie chicken, and I can get 3 or 4 meals out of that. I can get a soup out of it. I can get, I like to put it together with pasta and some sauce and throw in some chicken, put some cheese over it. So there's many different ways that you can use leftover food rather than throwing it away. Do we have any questions yet? Because we are just about done.
We actually do. We have one in the chat. Sheila just asked, she says, I usually buy store brands, not brand names. I have heard they are from the same sources, like store cranberry sauce is still from Ocean Spray. Is that true?
That is true. I used to work at Hannaford a long, long time ago, and they had a handout that they gave all the employees. And the ice cream, I can only remember 2 of them. The ice cream, the Hannaford brand ice cream was Hood ice cream, and the aluminum foil was Reynolds Wrap. So what happens, like with the vegetables, you if you're buying the name brand vegetables, you're going to get those nice, even little center pieces. Whereas if you're buying the store brand, you might get an end piece in there, you know, that doesn't look so perfect. That is the only difference between the, and they just put a different label on it, and from the exact same plant, but they put a different label on it. So they put the store brand label versus the name brand label. So you're just paying a little bit more for the exact same thing, and it may not look as pretty, that's all.
I always wondered that too.
So eating out, restaurants can be expensive. save money by getting the early bird special, going out for lunch instead of dinner, or looking for 2-for-1 deals. Ask for water instead of ordering beverages, which do add to the bill. That's where they make their money, is when you buy soda. Now, again, a long time ago, I used to manage a convenience store, and after selling 3 cups of soda, the whole thing was paid for. Everything else was profit. That's where they make their money. Now, I don't know if that's the same now. It could be different. This was like 30 years ago that I managed that convenience store. So I know that that's how they're making their money. And let's face it, they charge a lot of money for those cups of soda. I always order water when I eat out. I don't particularly drink soda. And another thing that my sister and I will do, if we go out to eat together, we will buy a meal and split it, because those meals are huge. And so it's a win-win situation. We're saving half the cost and we both get a good meal. And we pretty much eat the same thing. So it works out very well for us when we remember to do that. Now, do you have any questions? This is that was the last slide. I am done with my lesson. But if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them now. You can ask them personally, or you can ask them in the chat box.
I had a question, Gail. This is going back a little bit for when you were talking about the unit prices.
Yep.
And the example you gave was in ounces. And I know not everything's in ounces, but how would they do that with something? Is it always by volume?
So it can get very tricky. Usually it's pound or ounces or however they sell it. But there have been in the past, and I do another class and I teach that one product, they had it by ounces, and then the exact same thing, they had it by pounds. So let's say we're comparing, I'm trying to think of something. I can only think of carrots. So we're planning carrots by pound or by ounces. So if they do it by ounces, it's going to look like it's a lot less than if they do it by pound. Or a lot more, I'm sorry. And so you have to be careful. So if you're going to shop the unit price and you know that you're buying bread and you look at the bread and it says per pound or per ounce, you want to make sure that you're comparing pound for pound or ounce for ounce. Make sure one's not pound and one's isn't an ounce, because then that's how you know you're going to get your best price. And so apples per apples, or however you do that, you want to make sure it's exactly the same. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
If you really want to get a sticker shock, you look at the prices they charge for spices. It can be up in like $200 per pound, or that you're paying for spices. That's a real sticker shock. I always buy my spices at the Natural Living Center. I don't know if everybody's from the Bangor area, because you can measure out as much as you want, and it is a lot more inexpensive. The only thing I found there that's not more inexpensive is garlic powder. For some reason, the garlic powder there is a lot more expensive. Now, I haven't been there for a while. I buy my spices, and when they were, I buy them again. But in the past, I noticed that the garlic powder was a little more expensive. Do we have any other questions at all?
We have one. Bob is asking in the chat, what are some of your favorite meals or side dishes that you make ahead?
I am a soup person, and I raised 4 boys, and none of them like soups. But I was always making soups because they go a long way. Most anything I make a big pot and freeze it in individual servings and put it in the freezer. I've not seen too many things, maybe milk-baked chowders. They don't freeze very well. But other than that, most everything you can make and freeze ahead. The deal is to stop those ice crystals, is to make sure you get out as much air as you can. So if you put them in a freezer grade zip bag, I zip it all the way up and put a straw in there, and then I use the straw to suck out as much air as I can and seal it as quickly as possible. So if you've ever bought anything that's been sealed really good, it can stay well for a good long time. The only thing is if it's been in the freezer too long, the quality may not be as good, but it won't hurt you to eat something that's, say, been in there for 2 years. But other than that, pretty much everything I make, I can make ahead and freeze. Or, you know, keeping it, you want to make 5 days. You want a 5-day limit in the refrigerator so you don't get food poisoning. Any other questions?
There are two. One's a comment. Sheila was just saying that Ocean State has cheap spices. That's actually where I buy mine too. I think they're like $1.
Yeah.
And then Karen's asking, she says, I try to buy organic fruits and vegetables, but some are very expensive. Is it wise to keep buying organic, or can I buy some non-organic?
You can buy some non-organic. So if you go online and search, they have something called the Dirty Dozen, and there's like 12 or 13 fruits or vegetables that you should always buy organic for, because of the pesticides or whatever it is. Most of the time you can pretty well wash your fruits and vegetables, and now you especially want to wash everything. And when you get them home and wash them, and it's going to get everything off them. Although pesticides, I have a nephew who can hardly eat any fruits and vegetables because he has an allergy to whatever they put on them. And it affects him very much. So I'm not sure. I do know that Hannaford is really careful with their organic, and they keep them separated from all the others. I don't know what their standards are for that. I know that farmers, local farmers, if they say they're organic, they have to prove that they're organic and they haven't put anything else in there. But check online, and there is a list of fruits and vegetables that they say you should always buy organic. And I don't know what they are. Most of my fruits and vegetables, I get frozen, some fresh. Carrots, potatoes, onions, I'll buy fresh. Did that answer your question? Do we have any other questions?
I don't see any. I think that probably is it, unless anybody else has anything. I'll just say, since this is a 4-week series, for those of you who've registered, I'm just going to send the links out through email before each class, so you don't have to register for each class. And if you're on Facebook Live and you just found us, I left the link there for you to register if you want to join us for more classes.
All right. Thank you very, very much for your time. And if you have any questions you can think of, you can write them down and ask next week, or you can email me.